So hello and welcome to all our listeners, and thank you so much for joining us today. We're carrying on with our series of grief, and there are so many different types of grief. Actually, too many to go into straight off the bat. But we're not going to unpack all of that today. But in today's episode, I'm joined by someone who's probably one of the most energetic, bubbly, and soulful individuals that I've ever had the privilege of knowing. So welcome to Heartfelt's Karen. And just a bit of background about Karen. Karen and I have actually known each other since I was 6 years old, because her sister Leanne was my very first friend when I was in junior school in grade 1. And I came to know Karen through Leanne and spent a lot of time with their family growing up in Warman in Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. So the reason I invited you on today, Karen, is because I know that throughout your life, and having been in your life and overlapped with you since the age of 6, which is 44 years, us being in high school together, you being ahead of me by 2 years, we had friends that overlapped as well. The one being the beautiful Kyle Hermans, who I interviewed. Please go and watch that, guys. What an amazing man, who we are very proud of.
Yes.
And Karen and Kyle were actually really, really good friends as well, which is so interesting because your energies line up so well. But Karen herself has faced so many difficult losses in her life. And as I said before, there's so many different types of grief. And the first one I think that comes to mind is that first initial loss of the family unit when you were very young at the time. But that kind of shaped you, I think.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways. And I think experiencing that kind of loss quite early on in your life, I'm wondering, do you think that there was something that you felt like you had lost? I mean, I know you were very young, so that's why I'm asking.
Absolutely. So it was an incredibly, very much in my formative years, but just knowing that there wasn't the man of the household present.
Right.
And my mum having to then pick up both roles.
Right.
And myself having to grow up way quicker.
Sure.
Way faster than I should have.
Yeah.
But obviously that is the journey of life. It's messy and magnificent. So it definitely had an effect in the terms that I felt responsible for my sister.
Yes.
I felt responsible for my mom.
Right.
And it put me very much in my masculine, which is protective and providing and not trusting anyone enough to actually relax into the feminine.
Right. So that actually explains a lot, because if I look at the trajectory of your life and how you've grown and changed and adapted and pivoted, and it's been amazing to watch. And I mean, even to where you are today, tell us a little bit about what you do today. Like, who are you? How does your life look today?
Today.
Yes.
In this chapter. So I am finally in a space of understanding and acceptance for everything that has brought me to this point, because I think for many years, the immaturity and just not knowing any better, it can be quite confusing, and you kind of compare yourself to others and wonder, how things have shaped you. And being the ripe old age of 51 years young, I am in a place of just actually appreciation and gratitude for everything that has shaped the strength that I have now. Because if you go through traumatic experiences and you go through hardships, you have a lot more compassion for those around you.
Sure.
Because you understand firsthand. It's embodied. But now I'm a mom of 2 boys, and I am an intuitive facilitator of movement and trainer of facilitators. And I am... I'm at that stage now where I am the matriarch of my lineage. I
Yes.
am the oldest woman of what is to come and what has been. So I'm in a space of appreciation for myself, a lot more in my feminine, and proud of what I have achieved.
Yeah.
And now when I have hardship or trauma in the forms of grief, it is very differently processed. Where before it'd be like, why is this happening to me? Now it's a case of, what is this trying to teach me?
Right.
And an acceptance of the inevitability of life.
Yeah.
Because none of us get out of here alive.
No.
And none of us get out of here untouched by situations that are not ideal.
Right.
So I do feel that I'm in a much more calm and accepting place in my life of just, the trials and tribulations.
It's such an interesting place to be, because you can look back reflectively and kind of go, wow.
Yes.
Look what I survived, and look how far I've come. And we can look back and actually appreciate who we were and what we were going through at the time. And we can look at ourselves with grace and compassion. That's very hard to do in the moment for a lot of people. And I think to be on this path where you can now give that to yourself without feeling guilty, without justifying it, without rationalizing it, but just knowing that everybody needs that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that dose of compassion and kindness and just attentiveness. I'm really proud of you. Like, I think knowing you like I've known you, and being at school with you, watching you, I mean, you were a powerhouse at school. And when you say you were in your masculine, like, I fully understand that.
Yeah.
Like, no one messed with you. There was like it just, that just didn't happen. Like, and you were protective over me as well, which was something I remember, because you were older than me. You were in a higher grade than me. And you were very protective over my name and who I was. And, I remember that very clearly. I mean, Kyle was like my brother, and he was very protective, but there was also you. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being protective and for caring enough. Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
It was,
you protect those who you love.
Exactly. And who knew we'd be here today?
I know.
So I wanna start with the beautiful Mama Gay and your mom, who was just the most gorgeous soul. Like, when I think about her, I think about her laugh. I think about her sense of humor. I think about the joy she found in life. Even though she went through very trying and hard times, which I don't want to really get too much into, because I want to focus on who she was and her energy that would fill the space. I remember laughing a lot with her. And I think one of my earliest memories of your mom is sleeping over at your house in Warmer when I was like 7. And Oh, It's So Easy had just come into play with a handy sachet, right? And she had bought blueberry.
Oh, wow.
And she made the blueberry, and neither you or Leanne would eat it. And I felt so bad that I then ate the blueberry, 3 bowls of it.
Oh, wow.
And to this day, I cannot eat blueberry. Oh, it's so easy. I can't even smell it without thinking of it.
Oh, my gosh, that is hysterical.
And she was so chuffed that I had eaten this blueberry. Oh, It's So Easy. And for a while after that, every time I came to sleep over, there was blueberry. So that is my earliest memory of your mom.
No.
But your mom was and is still, I think, a very prominent feature in your life.
Yes.
And she really was a great mom.
Absolutely.
She really, really was.
Yeah.
When I think of her fierce love for you and Leanne and for her grandbabies. Like, she just loved with her whole heart.
Absolutely.
Like, everything.
Yes.
And whenever you saw her, you saw the photos.
Yes.
The photos came out.
Yes.
And she could spend hours talking about them. and telling you everything that you needed to know about them. Like we kind of felt like we'd met your kids before we met them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me when you first noticed that something was wrong, something wasn't quite adding up.
Yeah. I think it stands out to me the most was just prior to shutdown in 2020.
Yeah.
I noticed that Mom was repeating stories as if she hadn't told them, not like she wanted to repeat them. It's like a complete unawareness that actually we've just spoken about this. Then it would be a case of walking into a room. Why am I here? Things getting lost constantly, like just to the point of not normal. I mean, there is normal, which is ADHD and not focused, and you don't know. But this was consistent, and I just started to get a little bit worried about, it was uneasy. It wasn't comfortable, normal.
Right.
And before lockdown, I said to her, I think we need to just go and have a test just to see. And she was super anti because, of course, it's scary to be stepping into those spaces. And so then, of course, it was lockdown and there was no getting her to break the rules. So basically, we had the paperwork that we would have been able to go collect her and bring her to our place. And that place at that time was huge. She could have her own wing. And she just point blank refused. And I think that those months of being isolated was horrendous for her mental health.
Yes.
Because she thrived on human interaction and conversation and time with the kids.
100% agree
time with the dogs. A family unit was incredibly crucial for her mental well-being.
Yeah.
And so I was then surprised with her being in my space for Mother's Day. And there's actually a little clip that I saw the other day and it just made me howl, where I was surprised. She was hiding behind a curtain for Mother's Day and I held on to her. But I think my biggest shock was seeing her
in the flesh.
And she had halved massively in size, but also just there was something, I don't know if you know about the demented eyes. There's something that happens with the eyes.
There's almost like an emptiness.
Absolutely. It's like not completely present.
Yes.
You're somewhere else, but here.
Yeah.
And that was for me the biggest, oh my gosh, we are now fully in another chapter.
So were you and Leanne kind of talking about this? You were obviously both noticing something going on. I mean, Leanne's had her own journey as well. And she's just the most beautiful person, wonderful soul. I mean, I knew that at 6. I knew she was special. And I still go on about it today because I did. I just knew. Also, she was very behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like she didn't seek the limelight. I mean, when she took my little hand and said absolutely nothing to me, because I was so lost. I had just come from a convent.
Yes.
And I didn't know where I was going. And she sort of walked past, stopped, took my hand and led me to the classroom.
Oh.
Don't know how she knew I was in her class. But hey-oh, there we go.
Wow.
And we made friends like that. So she was obviously also in the mix and noticing that something was also not right. Because I'm sure she would often phone and talk to Mom and kind of see, okay, wait, no, something's... So, but the hardest part is you being here and having to carry it physically, but her being so far away and not being able...
Feeling helpless.
To be here and carry it. So tell me a bit about how you guys managed that together.
It was tough because she felt a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
And I knew... I learned a lot of things on the fly with that journey because I learned not to ever say, no, you are wrong to my mom, like correct her.
Yes.
But then I also learned on the flip side of that to not make it anyone's guilt that I was here because that's what life had dealt us. And actually what I needed was support.
Yeah.
And I needed for my sister to not feel that she was helpless. I said, no, actually you checking in and being a witness to what is happening is
Yes.
helping me
Yes.
to not be alone in it, even though you are far away. It's support.
That's
And
powerful, though. That's
absolutely.
like that, the part you said now about being a witness. That's really powerful
Absolutely.
because you do feel like you're drowning sometimes.
100%.
So
100%. So when I could call my sister and just be in absolute floods of tears
yeah,
and just saying it's just so hard, and please, and we'd had the conversation before where I said, please don't ever feel like I am ever trying to make you feel like I wish you were here. I
Yes.
just need to be able to sometimes vomit
Yeah.
and vent and break
sure.
down
for sure.
and just have you as a supportive witness to this journey and
Mm.
bringing her out regularly for her to see it firsthand. It just felt we actually felt like we were in each other's pockets. It made our relationship become stronger.
Yes.
Because we were witnessing something that is very personal
Yeah.
and very painful. And to have each other as support where you can just turn around and hug that person and break down in tears, because it is
Yeah.
incredibly heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's priceless.
Yeah.
Absolutely priceless. And I think for my sister, she really did appreciate the fact that I said, I don't want you to ever feel
Yeah.
guilty because your life is where it is.
Yes.
You are not here. And
Yeah.
that is okay.
Yeah.
It is how the cards have been dealt. And at the end of the day, my sister and my mom had a very amusing relationship because they used to irritate and joke with each other and then get dressed up and do makeup. And, she kind of filled in the parts that I didn't fill in because
you were primary caregiver.
Exactly.
So you had that administrative
Wrong.
kind of medical,
Yeah.
the overseer.
Yes.
And your sister, it's like being parents, right? We've got the fun
100%.
parent and we've got the disciplinarian parent.
Absolutely.
So you and Liam were filling those roles.
Complemented one another.
And there was always a lot of laughter when you three were
Yes.
together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that for me, I remember just being in London together and also it was sometimes the laughter was because it was so tragic. We'd be laughing about things that had happened that were completely diabolical that we'd all witnessed because the three of us were friends. I mean, there was no mother-daughter relationship.
No.
It was more of a three-way friendship, sisterhood. And there would be things that we talk about that would either completely take you out because it was so horrible, or you'd just be like, how ridiculous was that situation?
Right.
And the laughter would break the trauma bonding because it would be a case of, yes, we went through that, we survived it, and actually
look at us now.
You either laugh or cry.
Yeah.
And look at us now.
I have the same attitude when it comes to Ant. For the listeners who don't know, my husband, Corin's cousin, Anthony, has multiple sclerosis. So I am daily watching my husband slowly fade away. And I have what's called preemptive grief. So every time I lose a bit of him, and I know you know what I'm talking about because you faced the same thing with your mom. So every time his disease progresses, every time there's a change in his organs or his ability, physical ability, I lose a little bit of him. So but then you get to the stage where when something happens, you literally just laugh because you just, what else can you do?
Absolutely.
And people who haven't been through that, how can you laugh? I mean, but it is.
Yeah.
It is a way to actually cope and deal with it because it is diabolical and completely ridiculous that you would have to face these things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that with my mom, when she started being aware of the fact, because she completely you get in denial.
Which is normal. That's
absolutely
part of the process, right?
And I remember we were driving. I think I took her to Winchester. We had a lunch and a walk on the promenade, and it was such a lovely day. I really made sure that while we could spend time together, we did, and we did. We had shopping days, and we went in the wheel and bubbles, and I took her to the places she would never treat herself to.
Right.
And I remember she was in the car and she was just like, I can't believe that this is where I'm at, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And I said to her, it's like heartbreaking to witness you realizing what's happening, but at the same time, it's such an honor to be able to hold the space for you. And in the tears and the heartbreak, we were able to just find a space of it is happening, but we're going to make the best of it together. And I think that when I think back on those times, it was always made sweeter by the fact that we were aware of what was happening, and we chose to honor the, as you say, the layers that fall away. It's like by the end, Mom just wanted chicken mayonnaise toasted sandwiches. And we went everywhere and tasted all the chicken mayonnaise toasted sandwiches.
Beautiful.
And then one day she took a bite, she just like spat it out and said, "This is disgusting." And I could not stop laughing in and amongst the tears, because that was the nature of the beast, so to speak, where what works in one chapter of the dementia doesn't necessarily work in the next. And it's like chalk and cheese. And you really are dealing with a very uncertain journey. But through it all, we found the laughter. We found, even right up until the end, there were days when Mom would be completely lying there, no movement, not listening to my words. And then she'd just open her eyes and go, "Oh, I love what you've done with your hair." And you'll be like in these floods of tears. And then my sister sitting next to me, she's cut all her hair off and it's peroxided blonde. So she's totally on the money.
Yeah.
And we think she's completely away with the fairies, doesn't know what's going on.
She knows what's happening.
Opens her eyes and just comments. And then we're like laughing through the tears.
Yes.
And so that was and is a coping mechanism that has worked all the way through.
I remember that from when we were young, but also into your 20s, 30s, 40s. And I think your mom cultivated that kind of coping strategy from a very early age, as far back as I can remember.
Yeah.
And I mean, bearing in mind, even when I moved to Durban, you still came to Durban to visit Dad and Dom.
Yes.
Then you guys moved to Cape Town. Then we moved to Cape Town.
Yes.
And your mom was one of the first people on our doorstep, kind of going, "What do you need?" You know. But I distinctly remember your mom cultivating that strategy of laughing about things, because especially things that were so far out of your control.
Yeah.
And dementia is completely out of your control. It is not something that you can ever try to control. And I think as a primary caregiver sitting in that seat, that must have been incredibly difficult for you as someone who liked to have the ducks in the row, right?
Absolutely.
And now the ducks were flying the coop.
Absolutely.
And we had to kind of get on board with, okay, this is what's happening. This is it. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then deciding how to do that journey. How do I do this well? And that's something I want to just tap into, because it's something that your mom instilled in both you and Leanne. In your respective journeys. Like, how do I do this well? How do I get to the other side of this in one piece? And if not in one piece, with some semblance of self for myself and for those around me. And I think it's heartbreaking. I mean, you touched on that.
Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking. I think that when it's one thing for me to lose the person that I love, but when you could see that she was aware of the fact that things were changing for her, that was more heartbreaking.
How long? Because I mean, okay, so we get the diagnosis.
Yeah, so we went after the lockdown. We went to the geriatrician, which is like a pediatrician for geriatrics, and it was a resounding yes. We are in full-blown dementia. That it went down within 3 years.
Yeah,
because she lived on her own, Mama. And I was on the phone every single day. I would bring her to the house for the weekends with the kids. Then she would go back. And then there were things that were happening where she would think that it was load shedding, but she actually just hadn't turned the light switch on.
Oh.
And then she would say, oh, when I take off my clothes, there's like a lot of dust coming off. And I was like, what's going on? Then we realized that she was too scared to get into the shower because she had forgotten, or not forgotten, sorry, that's not what dementia is. It's the brain doesn't function in a way that tells you how the taps work.
Yes.
And she felt, as she kept saying, stupid.
Right.
So she would judge it as stupid. And I'm like, Mom, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
The part of your brain that functions to
get those signals
indicate
and
to
messages.
the body naturally and within normal flow of how to do things is dying.
Yeah.
So your executive function is failing you.
That muscle memory is not there.
Absolutely. So she would try to hide it. And then she would feel huge guilt because I would sometimes be flying over Okopsabach 2-3 times a day just to help out with things that were minor. And the thing is, it starts to snowball.
For sure.
And it got to the point, and also with dementia, there's different stages that you go through. There's the denial, then there is the grief, then there is the anger, and then there is the accusation that everyone is stealing from you, paranoia, and then hiding things from yourself and not being able to find them. So it's an exhausting process for her as well as everyone who's taking care of her. But we found the humor in that we would take the piss?
Yeah.
Take the mick out of it. You know, it's like she would be, and I'd be like, stop being so ridiculous. Like, how can you not remember that? And she'd look at me as if to say, how can you say that to me? I'm not well. And then we would absolutely pack out laughing because it'd be like, you know, it's ridiculous to the point of let's be ridiculous with it, because if we take it too seriously, it brings the energy and the everything down so that you're feeling blue and you're in a downward spiral. So it's like, what can we do to make it actually lighter and make light of a situation that is quite serious?
Because she's also processing stuff and almost in a limited capacity because her brain is not functioning like it should. And somehow trying to process what is going on with her body, with her mind, trying to still be that vibrant, beautiful creature, and yet feeling like she's failing all the time.
And flailing. So trying to find the light or the as you say, you mentioned the ducks in a row. Mom loved to have her ducks in a row. And eventually you just need to accept that the ducks are flying.
Oh, they're gone. They're flying.
You're herding cats.
For the winter. Yes.
You're herding cats. But through it all, Mom always had a way of bringing it to a unpacking. So you unpack the situation and you say what needs to be said. So bringing it back to the integrity of I love you through it all.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter what happens.
She said that a lot. I remember watching the little video clips that were sent around during her last year. And one of the things that she says more often is, I love you.
I'm so proud of you.
And I love you. And
it's just such a beautiful heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah. And I think that it's also got to do with the fact that it's what she needed to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I would always say because also with dementia, she flipped the roles. I was her mom. She introduced me to everyone as her mom.
Right.
But I realized that I actually was her mom because I was parenting up and parenting down.
Yes.
And what she needed was what she never received when she was younger, which was a feeling of being enough just as she was, because she always had that less than
mentality.
And unfortunately, it did carry with her. And also with dementia, what happens is whatever you haven't resolved comes up.
Oh, yeah.
To be resolved.
Yeah.
So when we were actually at the end saying to her, Mom, it's okay for you to let go, her eyes would fly open and she'd be like, no, it's not. I've got so much to do. And we would laugh at the fact was, well, how can you do anything?
Yeah,
we're not moving from this bedroom.
Yeah, we're going.
But what I realized in hindsight, because of course it's such a perfect science, is the fact that she was busy on a family constellation level.
Yes.
Where she was sorting things
Yeah.
out.
She was resolving things
in
inside
her own inner world.
Yeah.
And there was a lot to do because she had to sift through what was actually real and what was perceived.
Right.
And I feel that when she finally let go, there was a lot that was resolved. She did a lot of work in that year of being bedridden.
Because she did hang on.
Oh my gosh.
There were times where we thought, this is it.
Uh-huh.
And Ant and I would be waiting.
Absolutely.
And then, no.
Yeah. She had, and I had someone come because there were various different healing friends who wanted to do long distance Reiki, and people who, everyone has their various different gifts that we can't necessarily put words to, but they are able to communicate in a way that we can't in the 3D reality of communication, eye contact, verbal.
Yeah.
And they said your mom is working through a lot of childhood trauma, her own and yours. And she's healing for her lineage. So what she healed, I'm then healed from, and my children don't have to face.
Yeah.
So I did feel that a lot when she finally passed, where there was a lot more acceptance and less referring back to situations that were out of our control but did happen. And when I think about them, it doesn't trigger me the way that it used to, because it feels like it's done. It's done. And that, and also, the idea that we have perfect childhoods is a complete
no.
Because when you start to speak to people, you start to realize everyone, even the people that perceived had everything that they could have possibly asked for, had their own form of trauma.
Yeah.
And when you can start to actually be okay with it, is when you start to heal from it. Because welcome to 89% of society.
Yeah.
It is almost a rite of passage that you're going to be traumatized in some way, shape, or form. Some of it, sure, is a lot more extreme. Some of it is smaller. But it still has its place on your journey and how it shapes you, how you perceive the world, how you react to people, and how you then express and are able to relate to people and help them, where you say, it's okay to not be okay. And also don't diminish your trauma because you feel like sometimes now with everything that's happening in the world, people will be in their throes of expressing an emotion that's hard. And then they say, but who am I to feel this way when there's that going on? It's like, don't compare your trauma, because what you're going through is real for you and your feelings are valid. Even if you feel that it's smaller than something else, that's not happening for you.
I think that's a very important point. And I want to just sit in that for a minute, because that pitfall of comparing one's truth to another one's truth is it can be catastrophic. And the fact that you were able to kind of separate from that is a journey in itself. That thing of not comparing and not going, well, who am I to complain because I'm so blessed? Indeed. But that doesn't lessen the trauma. And so that invalidation that comes with comparison is so destructive.
100%, because you're suppressing your truth. And it's real for you. And it could be something really small, but your feelings are valid. And if you don't deal with it, it will revisit. And that is something that I have come to learn about trauma, the trauma loop. So if something is so traumatic that you push it down because you don't want to deal with it, you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to feel it again, it sits and waits for the opportunity to represent in a trigger. And if you are constantly suppressing, you are going to be depressed and you're going to be on a loop. So basically, every single time you push it away, it pushes back. And I think that when you were talking about preemptive grief, so the winter before Mom passed, I had huge preemptive grief to the point that I had a complete frozen right shoulder.
I remember this.
It was scary.
Remember
because
this.
it's when your body's now saying, well, I've spoken, now I'm
shoulder
screaming.
has largely to do with what are you not letting go of? What are you holding on to?
And it's protective over your heart. It's your masculine.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was talking to my kids, and this is the point that I had got to where I was in so much emotion and just survival mode.
For sure.
I was talking to them over the breakfast table and going, and then talking, and they were like, are you okay?
Yeah, like,
You're not okay. Mom, actually forget about breakfast and the school run. Like, there's something you need to address here. But I had got to the point where I was so in the emotion of it that I wasn't actually thinking about myself. It was like, push forward, be there for this, be there for your kids, be there for your mom, be there for the people that need to know about your mom. And that's why on the group, I eventually said, I'm not going to keep posting every single day because there is no improvement. I will let you know if something shifts. And that was me taking a little bit of my self-care back, where it was like, yes, I'm going through this, but I'm also alive in and amongst all of this. And I need to look after myself.
For sure.
Too.
For sure.
And the preemptive grief was allowing myself to fully go there, fully wail, howl, be in the tantrum state of it's not fair. I don't want to lose my mom. I'm in absolute agony. You know, all of it. Throw the tantrum. Spit the dummy. Throw the toys across the room, but then have a time frame where you come back from that because it serves and then it becomes destructive. So as much as it is destructive to not acknowledge your feelings, it's also destructive to acknowledge them to the point that you get stuck in that moment. So it's like, right, I'm taking the weekend. I'm going to be in bed. I'm going to cry. I'm going to eat all the wrong things. I'm going to Netflix. I'm going to do all the things that just allow me to have a break from my feelings. And then on Monday, I'm going to suit up again and I will reconvene with my flow.
You know, Ant is so gracious in his journey with MS because I'm so forward focused, right? So I'm what do I do to make this man's journey easier? What do I do? What do I need to put into place that will soften this for him to make whatever transitions are coming? I'm constantly thinking ahead of what to put in place. Who do we need to phone? How do I need to do this? Like, okay, so we're going to need a full leg brace. Okay, what does that entail? Who do I phone in the Western Cape? Does anyone do that in the Western Cape? So it's this constant. There's some nights I will wake up and bless his sweet heart, I wake up and I go, and I put my hand on his chest because that moment of panic, because also Ant doesn't breathe properly at night. So he stops breathing occasionally and then breathes and there was a time for 2 years where I didn't sleep because he wouldn't breathe. And eventually we got him onto a BiPAP machine, which forces air into his lungs. But when I do that, and he takes my hand and he goes, I'm still here. I'm still here. And I go, don't go anywhere. And he's like, not on my agenda today. And I'm like, excellent. And then I can roll over and go back to sleep. But he allows me the space to sit in that, to feel it, because he knows that the journey's hard for him, but it's also hard for those of us who are witnessing what is happening in his life and his journey. And I think for your mom, I think before the dementia took hold, she would often talk about how proud she was of you and Leanne, and how proud, like she would gush about you. Like, can you believe what they gave me? I mean, can you believe it? I mean, you know what they did? Do you know what they did, Jackie?